Hey, Mike Delpre here, Executive Director of AZREIA, the Arizona Real Estate Investors Association. And today I have a special friend, guest, strategic partner, David Pickron of Rent Perfect and Vendor VIP. And the reason for our discussion today is to educate our members on this new service that David is bringing to AZREIA in regards to our trades list. As we've been saying over the last few months, you guys know how important a trades list is for our business. So I'm working with David hand in hand. He's going to bring that to the table for us. So we wanted to bring David on here to let us know what Vendor VIP is and how it's a benefit to a real estate investor. So welcome, David.
Oh, thank you so much. Hey, listen, I do own Rent Perfect and Vendor VIP, but I think important here is I'm a long-term hold investor.
Mm-hmm.
So I certainly am dealing with vendors every day as things go, on in our rentals, and it's kind of hard nowadays, Mike. I mean, it's not like it used to be, and so there is a big struggle for whether you're a fix and flipper, you're long-term hold, to find the right vendor, because we all know there's a lot of not right vendors out there, right? There's a lot of bad vendors out there, and so 2025. You had a great vision to say, hey, let's bring a good trades list that are gonna take care of people, charge a fair price, have background checks done on the people in the homes, and let's bring that to our members. But not only do that, let's make it where we can review them and we can make sure that they're taking care of us as a group. And so we know, who's in, who's out, and it kind of gives us a little bit of control as we pool together our resources to find the best vendors out there. Now, it is so hard to find a good vendor, and I want to talk about that today.
Yes.
And I want to talk about why it's hard to find a good vendor. So I look forward to this discussion.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. Let's get educated on Vendor VIP. I'm really excited about this. And before we dive in, can you kind of just give us an idea? Like, I know there's like Angie's List and all these other types of sites. What's the difference from Vendor VIP to everything else out there?
Right. So, yes, the first thing that goes into your head is like, okay, it's just another vendor list, right?
Yeah.
But what we've done with Vendor VIP is we've actually allowed you to create your list. Okay. So you can create Mike's list or David's list. And I can go to AZREIA and I could say, okay, AZREIA, who are all your trade partners? And I can import them into my list that's on my phone. I have an icon on my front screen. I push a button and I can have a vendor contacted either by email, phone, or I can go right to a text with them and ask them if they can help me with a particular job at a particular location. And that vendor then can say, yes, I have time, or they can say, no, I don't have time. And then it rolls to the very next vendor in that same category. So it's not only a list, it's kind of like a hiring tool, right? It's like a secretary that you can give this job to, and it's going to go find your vendors, the ones you like, get the job, and then it's going to communicate directly with your tenants if you're long-term hold, or whoever you want it to communicate, and you can pull off and just go about your day, which is what I like to do as a lazy landlord, right? Mm-hmm. So it is a list, and a lot of people have lists, but it's also a hiring mechanism. And then you go ahead and you get to review the people that do the work for you, and everybody gets to see those reviews. And so I don't think of it as Angie's list, Mike's list, David's list. Think of it as your list. But what AZREIA is doing is we're going to provide you with our trade partners into your own list. So you have valuable vendors. Like, for example, on my list, I have a guy who comes around and details my cars, right? He's on my vendor list, but he's not a trade partner with AZREIA because he really doesn't have much to do with real estate. But I have him on my list along with all my other trade parties. And I'm excited because in a little bit, I'm going to actually show you my list and how it works. And you're going to see it live right on the screen.
And what I love about this, and you're not charging for this.
No.
Okay.
This is an absolutely free service to my fellow landlords and fellow fix and flippers. If Mike, if we can just jump in why this has come about is because these private equity groups are buying up all of these vendors, right? All of these contracting companies. And they're turning them into sales companies. They just want the bottom dollar. Mm-hmm. And so what I find right now with a lot of the big brands out there, let's say an air conditioner. A guy comes out to look at your air conditioner. he's not that old guy that walks up and goes, oh, by the way that sounds, it's a fan belt. And I mean, he almost get diagnosis by the way the air conditioning would sound. That's back in our day. That's like that guy that we want on our property, right? Instead, it's a kid who comes out, has never been to air conditioning schools, all he knows is, yeah, it's broken and you need a new one, right? And I've had many situations where I've hired AC companies. They've come out and said, I needed a new AC. I got a second opinion. The guy's like, it's a $6 part, you know? So these companies have set up like these models where they're turning their repairmen into salesmen. Instead of just repairing the thing and getting it working, they're seeing how much money they can get off of you. And in their models, they're saying, hey, if you upsell this client, we'll give you half of the profit that we're going to get from the upsell. And so if you make a phone call to certain, companies around town here in Phoenix or across the country right now, sure, they'll have a guy at your house like in 5 seconds, but get out your wallet. And then they're gonna charge you so much. I feel like it's gonna take a year long of my profit off of one of my properties that I make my $200-300 cash flow a month. One call is gonna wipe that whole investment out for a year for me. So we got to be very cautious on who we bring in. And so, unlike pay for play, Angie's List or whatever, that's just you pay me and you come on. The vendors that we have here that are going to be AZREIA trade members they're referred by fellow investors, by fellow landlords, people that we have worked with. And if someone sneaks into our list and they're referred by a fellow investor, but they turn that model and they start, charging too much money, we're going to start rating them. And we're going to start telling the rest of the crew, hey guys, this guy was referred by a landlord, but he's playing some funny games. And soon he's not going to be on our list anymore because of, that model that we don't like. As a landlord, Mike, I don't mind paying a fair price. Listen, I'm not asking for huge discounts. Treat me nicely, work with my tenants, just give me a fair price, and you'll be my vendor for life. And so we're not asking for people to come on to AZREIA, to give away the farm. We're just saying, listen, just charge us a fair price, and put a decent person in my renter's home around my renter doing whatever they do. So I don't worry about them stealing something, putting up cameras, flirting with them. I mean, and causing me all kinds of grief as a landlord. So
good point. Because even on the upsell part, like you said, the trip charge, the upsell, and then I just dealt with an air conditioner company where there was more to be done. They found the problem, but they didn't have time to fix it because they had like 18 more appointments.
Yeah.
And he had to stay on schedule because he has quota.
And what he was doing there is he was just securing your job, but letting you know, I'm not going to do it right now. I'm just going to secure it so we can do it for you, in a week from now. Well, as a landlord, if I don't take care of an air conditioning here in Arizona in July, I'm hearing about it every single hour of the day, right?
Yeah.
And now this summer for me with Vendor VIP, I had 3 or 4 air conditioning calls with my properties. And I actually had a tenant set up an appointment directly with the AC company for 3 days down the road. And I'm like, you're not going to have air for 3 days, but you set that appointment. You said that was a good time to come. So don't call me tomorrow or the next day.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one. But if they weren't the ones to set up that appointment, they would have been calling me every second of the day. When can you come? When can you come? When can you come? And so I love Vendor VIP because it puts the power to your vendor and to your tenant to arrange everything. And I just get to sit back, but then I don't lose power because the vendor gets a text saying, hey, when you know what's wrong and how much it's going to cost, please call David at this number. They get a text. And so they call me and say, hey, David, it's $600. Are you good with, us moving forward? And so I still stay in control of the service. I just am not in the middle of all the scheduling.
God, I love that. So yeah, because we get busy as investors or entrepreneurs, or we're working, whatever it may be. Facilitating that 3-way call can be a hassle. So yeah, jump in. Why don't you pull up the presentation just so I'm sure I'm looking at this as a member, as an investor, and I'm going to try to poke holes at you and get all the questions answered.
Okay,
so,
absolutely. Let me pull that up real quick. Now, some of this stuff we might have already kind of touched on.
Yeah, let's do it.
But Mike, we got together and we said, one of our goals in 2025 is to create this for the members, right? Because we just feel like we want to bring value to our members here at AZREIA. And so this is a venture that we decided to go ahead and do. And now we're at a time where we built it, we've got it ready, and now we're just getting ready to launch it. Okay.
Yep.
So we talked about why is it hard to find reliable, honest vendors. First of all, when I talk to vendors, they have too much work and not enough employees. And I've had vendors where I've said, hey, AZREIA would love to have you. You've done my work. And they're like, listen, can you get me more employees before you get me more work? So believe it or not, some of the better vendors aren't looking for more work because then they're not going to be good anymore. So we went through quite a bit of vendors, and some of them we thought would be perfect for AZREIA. They're perfect as far as their business and their working goes, but they just don't have the time to take care of AZREIA members. And if you don't have time to take care of AZREIA members, then I don't want you on this list. We talked about.
Real quick, that's a good point. Like, even because, one of the reasons you come to AZREIA is, yes, you're going to meet other investors and learn and build relationships.
Right.
You come here too to find out who's a good electrician, who's
Right.
a good plumber. And
Right.
I've noticed over the years, less actually come because they're busy. Or
Right.
they're not networkers or whatever it is. So
Right.
that's why another reason this is so important.
Yeah, and for our trades people, I don't think they want to come. I mean, no offense, Mike, you have a
Yeah.
great RIA, right? But I think they just want to be out working on our properties, making money. And quite frankly, we don't even need them at your meetings. Like,
Yeah.
we just need the list, call them when you need them, and so it works really well. We talked about sending out salesmen instead of repairmen. Many have these models that promote upselling. We just discussed that a little bit. But here's another thing is, you used to have interviews and you used to go through, where did you get your education? Where did you learn to do the trade? Did you go to a school? Did you go to a trade school? These guys now are hiring anybody who will show up. They're not doing background checks. Now, the reason I know this is I'm in the background check industry. I can see exactly who comes into a company and who companies hire and don't hire. And I can tell you on a lot of these guys, they just they will not either do a background check, or they'll have such a light criteria that anything passes. They just want them to show up, make me money. And we have a liability as landlords. We don't want to send just anybody into, our rentals around our tenants, because since we sent them, we have some liability in what they do when they're there, right? Okay, so what do companies have to do to become an AZREIA trade partner? First of all, they must work directly with you or your client. I use this all the time for my own personal house, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do this here in a little bit. But you can schedule a service for your home, for your business, or for an additional property. It might be a rental property. We'll go through that in a second, but you must be willing to work with the person that I tell you to work with. Most of the time for me is my tenant. And so that's important. If we don't do that, I'm this go-between person that I don't want to be, hey, can they meet me at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon? I don't know. Let me call. Hey, he wants to come tomorrow at 4 o'clock. No, I'm at work till 5. Okay. No, he's at work till 5 o'clock. You see that just back and forth that I don't want to be in the middle of, right? So you got to be able to work directly with our clients. You must pass a background check if you are in people's homes that are occupied by tenants. If you have a service where you're not around people, or you don't go into somebody's home, we don't care about that background check. You're not in danger, or a person is not in front of them. So those must pass a background check that are physically in our homes around our tenants. They must give us they must give us a preferred pricing and more or less scheduling. Like, make me a priority. Okay, because one of the questions I'm going to rate you on is were you timely? Did you string me out for a week? Did you show up timely but then say, yeah, I got other appointments and I'm going to come back next week? So you've got to give me preferred pricing and give me preferred scheduling. Okay. Now,
real quick, David,
yeah.
Jump back. If you can go back to that last slide, just a couple quick thoughts. So preferred pricing and scheduling, of course. So one of our values here at AZREIA is high integrity and ethics, right? So we want to have quality landlords, not slumlords. So we have better housing, better communities, and that's one of the things that why I'm excited. One, I know you have Rent Perfect already for our tenants, but screening the people going into our houses or into our tenants' private space is huge to me. So I'm glad you do that. And what about the bidding though? Like, because we do recommend in our world get a couple bids, right? Like, does this not, I don't want to say alleviate that, because I know I've had some crazy bids where they're just so far off, or you have that
Right.
feeling of I don't
Right.
really trust, is it really worth that much? Should they really be charging that? Like, does this service
Yeah,
provide?
so when you send off a request to somebody, you can ask them to go out to the property, get a bid. I don't have a lot of success with that kind of hiring anymore, but I grew up with that. You get 3 bids, you take the,
Yeah.
I mean, if I have a company that says, hey, I want you to come out and give me a bid right now, it's $75, $150 to come out and do a trip charge, right?
Hmm.
Just to come out and see it. Now I do that 3 times. Now I'm 450 in the hole. So what we want to do, Mike, is we want to get the right vendors that are going to give us good pricing where we don't have to worry about getting ripped off, right?
Yeah.
But you're still in control. So you can still send out the request to them, and then you can ask them, hey, I'm just looking for a bid right now. And then you can pay if there's a trip charge fee or whatever. But these are your preferred vendors. These are guys that we have vetted. These are
Mm.
guys that if sorry for the term, but if you screw one of us, everybody's gonna know it, right? So we'll take care of you if you'll take care of us. And so I agree. If you have a project where bidding is, fix and flipping, and you have a big project of a tear out or something, you might want to get a guy to show up and give you bids, because you can fluctuate from 5 to 7,500 to $10,000 based on who those contractors are.
Okay.
So you can use this for that. It doesn't mean that you've absolutely hired them, but you have requested that you need their attention, here in the next little bit to get your project rolling.
So if I'm new to AZREIA, or maybe I'm trying to rebuild my team or build a second team, or if I'm new and I don't have a team, so I can go in here and then say, oh, here's David's electrician. I'm going to put them on my list. Here's
Right.
Mike's plumber. I want to put them on my list and look at the reviews. So that's something we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. But
Okay.
the reality is you're going to go to AZREIA and you're going to get AZREIA's trade vendors,
Got it.
right? You're really not. I mean, Mike, if you do have your own list, you can share your own list with your family, with whoever. But the list that we're really supporting here at RIA is the AZREIA trade partner list, and that's the one we're going to stand behind. But you can share them with whoever you want to share them with. And what I like about this is, let me go to this next slide here. So real quick is we're going to review them. And that's a big part of hiring people without getting free bids. If you want to, just trust somebody to give you the best pricing at the beginning, this is how you're going to battle if you feel like someone's giving you too high of a price. Now, remember I said you stay in control. And so when they call you and say, hey, it's $600, you can say, you know what, I'm not feeling, no, hey, I appreciate it. Thank you. And then you can go hire the next company in that category to come out and review and give you a second opinion, right? But this right here is what's going to keep people honest as they work with our community, is us reviewing them.
Got it.
Okay. Now, since Vendor VIP teamed up with AZREIA, this QR code is one that you want to scan. Now, our list is brand new. We've got 1 or 2 vendors per category right now. We want to grow that to 4 or 5 vendors per category. It's okay, because if you're a vendor listening to this and you sign up with AZREIA, when people scan this list, it's going to jumble the order. Sometimes you're going to be first in a category, sometimes you're going to be second. But listen, if you're second and third, it's not a bad deal, because that first person gets the request. They're going to say no sometimes because they're too busy, right? And they don't get any docked for saying no. We want them to say no. Listen, if you're too busy for me, please tell me no up front. I don't want to wait days, right? They're going to say no. Then the number 2 person is going to get the chance to get the job, and the number 3 and the number 4. That's why we want 4 to 5 people in each category. So so if you're a vendor watching this, sign up with us. I promise you'll see some value in this. If you're a user, an AZREIA member, you'll have options to pick who you want to pick. Now I have, and I use JMAP on mine. They're my main AC company that I use. they're going to be at the top of my list every time. Every time they're going to get a chance to bid my job first. So you get to also control your order and who you really like. Remember, these aren't supposed to be AZREIA trade partners, even though they are. They're supposed to become your vendors, the ones you like. If you use one from our list that you don't like, then move them to the bottom, erase them, delete them, and go to the next one. So I think you're going to end up falling in love with these vendors because these are the guys, a lot of them that I've vetted, I've talked to, I've onboarded, I've used, or friends of mine have used, or fellow investors that recommended them to us have used. And so, so I think you're going to be happy with these vendors that are on the list. So scan this QR code right now. If you're watching this, it'll ask you to set up your free vendor VIP account. And what it's going to do, it's going to download all of AZREIA trade partners into your portal. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do that, or how it's going to look here in a second. And then I always recommend saving vendor VIP as a shortcut onto your phone. As you can see on the right, there's a vendor VIP icon. I push that. I have every vendor I need right on my phone. So if I'm having lunch, I'm on vacation, a tenant calls me or something, I have a problem, I push that button, and seriously, less than a minute, I have a vendor working with my tenant to figure out how to get something solved. So, you know, I used to, like we talked about, I used to go into this, oh no, the dishwasher's leaking at one of my properties, and oh, who's a plumber? Should I Google it or call a friend or someone's website? Or I was confused on what to do. Now it's real simple. I look at my phone, I push that, I go to plumbers, I push the additional properties to go to additional properties, which I'm going to show you in a second. So put this on your phone. It is really amazing.
Can I jump in really quick? So I know we've been talking about a lot about landlords. How about the fix and flipper?
No, it's the same thing, right? So I mean, we got drywall guys on there, we got full demo guys on there. You know, so it's the same thing. But so what you would do then is you would just put, for the additional property would be the home you're working on, so they get the address and they know. And then you have a notes section that you would say, go by and look at this and shoot me what you do, a price on this, or meet me here at 6 o'clock tomorrow. And it's just a great communication device where you can alert them, or they could say, Mike, listen, I got 4 projects right now. I would be doing you a disservice if I even came out to bid on this property. I'm just slammed right now. I'm sorry. I'm going to say no. And then it's going to push you on to the next person who is in that category.
So are we putting, like, or going back and forth, since you mentioned the address, so if I have 5 rental properties, am I putting all my tenants into this app so they can connect with?
You can pre-do it, which I'll show you, or you can do it every time that you order this. So we'll go to that in just a second. Let's clean up this thing. So we're going to ask them, you know, somebody comes to my property as a vendor. First of all, were they on time, right? Were they timely? Did they have communication with me? So if they were a little bit late, did they call me? Hey, I got stuck in traffic, this job in front of me. Did they communicate with me well enough and communicate with my tenant well enough where no one was left wondering, is this guy ever coming, right? Did they complete the work? And really the key one is, would you recommend this vendor? You know, there might be times where, you know, you were okay. I didn't think you were great at some of these things, but I probably wouldn't recommend you. But I don't want to also say you're the worst ever and get in a fight with you and, you know, tell you how bad you are. But I would say, yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend you to my fellow investors. And so our system takes all of these ratings and gives you an average rating and then puts them all out on Vendor VIP for you to see. Okay, I'm going to switch screens here real quick. Come back to you real quick here. Let me go share this screen with you here, right here. Okay. So now if you go scan that QR code, you see my screen okay, Mike?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, now if you scan that QR code, it's going to say, do you already have an account or do you need to create an account? Creating an account is real simple. It's like 3 or 4 things. You create an account, and then it uploads all of AZREIA trade partners into your vendor portal. So right now with air conditioning, you have JMac, you have Tropical Companies. These are 2 in this category. This is actually what your screen will look like. We have some appliance service companies that either can work on appliances or sell you used appliances if you want to put in some used appliances, save some money. We have some model home furniture companies that are coming in right now that are going to be able to, if you do VRBOs or Airbnbs, you'll be able to order model home furniture quality for a lot cheaper. So these are the things that we're doing. Right here is a non-professional category. Zona Law Group is a law firm that works a lot with landlords. There's no reason to request service. You would just go ahead and hit their email or hit their website. You can call them if this was pulled up on your phone, or you can email them here and contact them directly. So there's multiple ways to contact these vendors, however you like to do a lot of the work. I like to come here, request a service. It's going to ask me, is this for your home, for your business, or for an additional property? Okay. Now, in my account, I have my addresses. Okay. And I've already pre-filled in this. For my home, there's my home address, guys. There you go. Come stalk me. For my business, there's where I'm at during the day. And then I have my additional properties in here. Okay. So I pre-filled all that out. So when I'm at lunch and I get this phone call, I can hit a couple buttons and all of this information goes to the vendor, and the vendor can start working and getting things done. So let's go back to our list. Let's go hire JMac. Let's say it's for a rental property of mine, or I'm saying additional property, or a fix and flip property that you have. Okay. I am the owner here, but I'm going to tell them the address I want you to go to is Linda Lane. And in my filled out properties, I know Tim Rice right here is my client. Is my renter, and this is his phone number. And I didn't want to put his email address on here, so I just put mine on there for now. Anyways, and then I can describe the services that I need, and then I can put something in here: request owner approval over. So if you go there and it's $150. You don't need to call me. Just fix it, be done with it, move on down the road, right? Less phone calls I get, the better. But if it's over this approval, then you need to call me. And then I can upload a file if I have any pictures that the tenant sent. And I don't want to push next right here because this is actually going to trigger a live call out to this property with JMac, and I don't want to do that to them. So, but that's how easy it is to order a vendor to get out to a property, whether it's a renter or a fix and flip. Super, super simple. And then we go about our business. And keep in mind here, if JMac gets their text and says no, then it goes to tropical companies. Then they say, can you help me? And I would love to have 4 or 5 vendors in each of these lists. So if you're watching this now and you have that great vendor and you're willing to share them with us, please go ahead and invite this vendor right here. And you can invite the vendor. It'll come to us. We'll contact the vendor, say, hey, you've been invited to join AZREIA. I'll explain the program to them and what we expect, and let them know that you referred them. And then we can build this list with the best vendors, around the valley. Now, keep in mind that say, I don't know this for a fact, but tropical companies could just be in the East Valley. And you have a property out west, right? So if they get a request from you that's way out west and they only work east, they're going to say no, then it's going to roll to another air conditioning company that is going to cover the West Valley. Okay, so that is why we want a lot of people looking at these to find the right vendor for the right job. And this is going to help us do that. Yeah. I actually love all of my vendors, right? I don't care if JMac comes or Tropical comes. I like them both. And it's the same thing as we're going to have all these. So I'm trying to tell people to love the AZREIA trade partners, don't just love one vendor. Say, I don't care who comes. They're all vetted. They're all great. They all give us good pricing. And so just get my job fixed. So anyways, that is how simple this program is. It's going to seem kind of difficult when you're like, hey, scan this QR code and create your account. But once you have this all set up, I use it all the time, and it saves me a ton of money, Mike. And I love it because these are great vendors that need to be with AZREIA members. They really are great vendors that need to be teamed up with AZREIA members. And I know you'll like using these guys. So use the guy you love right now, but if he goes away or he's not available, jump on here and try some of AZREIA's vendors, and I think you'll be real happy with that.
So what if the member, has a few service providers they love, so they want, because I love, first of all, this is on your phone because we're always on the go. So you have it on
Right,
your phone. You don't have to log into your computer when you're out in the
right.
middle of a job. So invite vendor. So they can basically, if their preferred vendor maybe isn't a part of AZREIA, they can invite them to this program so it can be on their app. Is it
Absolutely.
okay?
Yep.
Got
Yep. And we want them to do that. We're asking people now, as we launch this, Mike, as you and I have talked about, we're not done. This is a launch. This is the beginning, right? We're going to be building this thing through, I mean, we'll probably be building this thing for the rest of our lives because vendors come and go,
Yeah.
right? And so we'll be promoting this at meetings. Tell your vendors they'll be promoted at probably 6, 7, 8 different meetings a month. We'll show a QR code of all members to scan and download this. And Mike, let me tell you, I've been a vendor of yours for a long, long time. I own multiple companies, as you know, and I have made a living off of AZREIA. Like AZREIA has given me so much. You're like this gem that no one knows about out in the big valley. I mean, investors know about you, right? But if vendors have never heard of AZREIA, they need to know you are this little gem they need to get involved with. Because through your members, they will get plenty of work
Oh yeah.
and good work and good paying people. And they'll be around people who are investing and not trying to rip them off and pay them quickly. And this is just a good place to be. So I'm just putting a little plug in for vendors right now. If you're watching this, you need to be part of this list.
Awesome. Love it, man. Well, I mean, are we missing anything? I think
Man, I went on a roll. So I mean, you tell me. I'm pretty happy and jazzed up about this. We've been working on this for a long, long time. And the only other thing that I would say that maybe this vendor VIP is also linked into Rent Perfect.
Okay.
So if you have the Rent Perfect platform and Rent Perfect's helping you manage your properties, which is also our company, we're tied on the inside. So you'll already have all your tenants, all your properties, and you just have to link vendor VIP and Rent Perfect together within Rent Perfect. And now all of a sudden you even have a better platform because we know who your tenants are, all your addresses. You don't even have to input all that data. It's already in there. So
Awesome.
it just helps you process work orders, right? So in Rent Perfect, the tenant will say, hey, my air conditioning doesn't work. And then you go into your Rent Perfect and just click a couple buttons like we just did here. And it continues the exact same process.
Love it, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on and giving us this intro. Yeah, what about like customer service? So yeah, we didn't go over that. Like if there's an issue or a complaint or something outside of ratings, or the app isn't working, is there a customer service number on
Yeah,
there?
absolutely. So info@vendorvip.com
Okay.
is the best way to go. And we'll have Crystal's in charge of that, and she'll be able to help you whether you're setting up for yourself or you're a vendor and you want to set up. And then a lot of that stuff will be forwarded to me in the time being as we get this going for AZREIA. I will be in the middle of everything, making sure everything goes the way that we need it to go to find success there. So.
Awesome. So you heard it. Scan the QR code. We'll also in the comments or wherever this video will be hosted, we will also have a link. And I'll even just kind of share my screen just really quick here for those watching. Our online community. So we will have the trades list. It's coming up. So Dave's going to be giving us the vendor VIP link, which I think you may have already passed that on. Molly will get that up. So just when you're logged in, you're networking, you're communicating with other investors. You can just click on the trades list, download the app into your phone, and sign up, and you're done. So make sure to check that out. David's going to be coming to some of our subgroups throughout the month. He's going to be coming to a few of the monthly meetings. So you'll be able to meet him in person, ask him questions, and get to know him a little bit as well. So yeah, Dave, appreciate you being here, man.
All right. Always a pleasure, Mike. Appreciate all you do.